Okay, hi guys. Thank you for being with us. I can see a few people already joined. It's great to see you. We'll be starting soon the live webinar from Dallas, Texas, when I will have a pleasure to talk to Anurag, who is a team member of Icanma company. He will introduce himself at the beginning. So a little bit of the announcements right now, what we are going to do. First of all, Anurag is going to help us to understand what is his business, what he's doing, and we are going to talk about artificial intelligence a lot today. And then after 25, 30 minutes, we will pick up a few questions from the crowd and let Anurag to ask them so we can learn from him. Anurag, welcome today.
All right, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. And I know this is something that we've been planning on doing for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we finally had a chance to do this, especially right now with the COVID situation going. I'm glad that we can still connect and talk about all the topics that we typically talk about. So I love it. And in that note, I just wanted to say, just a shout out to all the essential workers, all the healthcare workers right now. They're doing an amazing job. And I think once a vaccine is out and once everything is back to normal, we should all throw them one big, large party so we could celebrate.
Yeah, right. COVID accelerates so many things. But by the way, like the shout to the service guys,
Yep.
I saw yesterday the short movie from Italy when the people when the in the building the lady leaves that she goes every day to a hospital, so when she's coming back home everybody go out, like open the door and give her a clap. So that's always
Yeah,
great
that,
to
that,
see those people are
that,
working hard for so we can stay home and be safe.
yeah, I have a lot of friends that are in the medical field and even just in different essential businesses, and the type of stories that I'm hearing from them, it's scary, but those guys are the heroes. And so we need to do whatever we can to help them. So
Right.
but I'm still glad that we can still connect, you and
Of
I,
course, of
and we can
course.
talk different topics like artificial intelligence or recruiting or startups. All of those things are my favorite topics.
Yeah.
And I always tell you I follow you, and you're doing such a great job with your
Oh,
content and your
thank you.
business. And I still remember the first day we met at just a random networking event and just ran into you, and we just started talking. And what has it been, almost a year or a little longer than that? I think it's been a great relationship. I've learned a lot from you, and
Hey,
I
don't mention that amount of beer we drank together. That's not even like
I do miss that, the beers, yeah. But I'm glad that you know we still met, and we'll still continue to have beers, and you still got to take me on your fishing trip.
Of
So
course. Hey, buddy, tell us about your job, what you
yeah,
do,
so
and yeah, like what your challenges are, and what's the company you work for. I know that's the year you have a 20 years of anniversary. Give us a little bit of
yeah.
intro, who you guys are and what you do there.
Definitely appreciate that. So yeah, I work for Iconma, and it is our 20th year this year. So we're very excited about that. Iconma is a staffing and recruiting company. We provide our clients with resource support from IT, engineering, marketing, administrative. I mean, we've got a lot of categories. And I'm a business development manager. My prime responsibility is new business development. I do client relationships, client
Right.
management, account management. I also am involved in branding and marketing to some level of the company. So that's primarily my responsibilities. And working with Iconma is such a great time because we all work together. We've got a solid sales team, a recruiting team, and we're located globally. So I get to interact with people in India, people Canada, people in all around the United States. So we're pretty well-established company for 20 years. And you mentioned challenges that we're facing right now. Obviously, like every other company, the
Right. Tell us.
challenges,
Yeah.
with the coronavirus going on, there's we help our clients with staffing and recruiting. So a lot of companies are just taking a pause right now, just trying to make sure that all the COVID concerns are taken care of, so then they can start hiring. But there's companies are still hiring. I've got clients that here in Dallas area that are still hiring, and they're going to continue to hire. So I think with our business, with Iconma, we're so well spread out in different industries that we get an opportunity to help at these times during coronavirus, like with the healthcare industry. So we're helping hospitals, we're helping healthcare facilities, clinics. If you're looking for a job right now in the healthcare field, just please reach out to us. We can certainly get you in right away. And even if you're just looking for a job as a software engineer or administrative or marketing or any category, we still have clients that are hiring. So you can visit our website, www.iconma.com, career tab on the top. You can also reach out to me directly. I'm sure we'll share my information towards the end, but reach out to me. I can certainly help you out, get you in touch with the right person, and we'll all get through this together.
So guys, here's the info. So if you are in a search of a job and you need the help, because Iconma also help you to decide which path you should take. So don't worry about writing everything down. For those of you who registered, we will be preparing like few wrap-up information, and we will distribute them to everybody who registered over Eventbrite or Facebook or YouTube. That's where we're streaming now. So you will get that information. You will get Anurag LinkedIn profile and his contact data. Part of this life's goal is also to connect you guys with people like Anurag, so you can exchange information. Coming back to what you said about job search, we have a question list which I want to ask you. That's why I'm looking in this direction, guys. So maybe I skip the question number one, but I since you are talking about like offering and jobs opening, Anurag, tell us what candidates need to consider nowadays. Like by consider, I mean like if I'm searching for a job, like say I want to be a vice president of product strategy, or I want to be a product manager. It used to be like you craft the NDA, CV, resume, you go online, you upload that to monster.com or any other websites, and you basically come back when they shoot you an email. You were just applying and applying and applying.
Right.
Does that change? Like, I mean, that's robots took over something, or maybe on the company side, I bet they deal with tons of resumes. I mean, that's life. Like probably 20% of them are not that good quality. So are those guys like, looking at them manually, and there's some kind of automation? I mean, the reason I'm asking this question is like, what candidates should consider nowadays that just kind of sneak into the process and it's done differently than it used to be before?
Certainly, that's a great question. So I think one of the biggest things, if anybody's looking for a job opportunity right now, is to reach out to agencies like Iconma. We work directly with hiring managers, so we are in contact with them. Typically, when you apply traditionally, for a full-time position, you go on the website, you put in your information and expect a call back. So that's a great opportunity, or that's a great process to go into. But working with agencies, you can get opportunities that are fresh, that are new right there. You will get an opportunity to talk to recruiters and understand exactly what the position is, and you can then apply for that position. So you'll get updates like that. But what I would also say, traditionally, what I always recommend to folks who are getting into entry level, or even somebody who's seasoned in their career for a very long time, typically pre-COVID time, you would be going to a lot of networking events. Like, I would recommend
you go like we met. You go outside and meet people, and they might help you to dig in somewhere to the company, to the recruiters.
Exactly. So you meet with people and you just have a genuine conversation, and you learn about the organization. And the best thing you get is a reference. So when you get a reference and you're applying for a job, you can then move your application from, let's say, number 15 to maybe number 1 or 2. So having that reference is key. So obviously we can't do that right now with networking and social distancing and all that. What I would recommend is using LinkedIn, using different social media platforms to connect with people. right now companies are still hiring.
So
You know,
wait a second. So
sure.
are you saying that instead of like crafting great resume and keep sending this as a first step, you
Mhm.
say like flip it up a little bit and go on LinkedIn, connect with people. So, but who you should connect with, like recruiters or like people in the company you like? For instance, I want to be a Apple artificial intelligence department employee.
Right,
I
right.
should kind of connect there and then just, hey, here's my resume. Or
Yeah.
what do you mean like by this?
So yeah, what I mean is trying to have different avenues of trying to get in front
Oh, okay.
of the company. So there are many ways to apply for a job, and I think you should open up all those different avenues to get into. And connecting with people is not just networking is just not just a one-time thing. You get connected with that person for a very long time. So, for example, if you don't land your dream job and you've been talking to this person on LinkedIn for a while, that's not a problem. You can always you're going to stay connected with them, so you can keep following up with them. So, when you apply, we're going to get into this with artificial intelligence. When you apply for a position, you submit your profile, and these days with artificial intelligence, machine learning, there are a lot of technologies that are coming up
Right.
that help with the screening of each resume of each
That's what I
each
wanted to
profile.
ask you. So, because I suspect that if I would be a recruiter, let's say I'm a recruitment manager or a recruiter, I got like LinkedIn one channel. Will people keep sending me? I also checked. I did a little bit of the research because before our conversation, and I know now they offer on LinkedIn like easy apply, which you
Mhm.
can apply with like one button, like you.
Right, right.
So I believe that it can give you like potential candidates from LinkedIn, then from Google, then from your company website. So you are like aggregating tons of resumes.
Yeah.
And I assume that as a recruiter, which wants to be more effective, more precise, I would hire some kind of technology to at least work for me as a first or second layer. So
Sure. Yeah,
what's your
certainly.
take on that?
Of course, yeah. With large organizations, you have to have some sort of a system in place where you're monitoring all of this incoming resumes. You don't want to miss out on good candidates. So with large organizations, they are using artificial intelligence, or they're starting to use technologies. There's a company called Text.io that
Uh
looks
huh.
at keywords and just tries to match up with what the job description is. And if you do that many times, you're receiving many candidates, it'll give out a score, and then the recruiters can then take over and start engaging with their candidates once they've received that. So there is a filtration process that larger companies use. I think some of the smaller and mid-sized companies are probably going to get to that level at
Yeah.
some point. But with you mentioned LinkedIn, Easy Apply, there's Google, there's Monster, there's all kinds of things that platforms where you can upload your resume and then directly apply. Companies will get a repository of resumes where they can then use to analyze. And it's not as just looking at keywords. Sometimes they'll look at a resume and maybe recommend that candidate, hey, listen, you applied for a business analyst role, but you may be a good fit for a product manager role because that's something we're looking for. And you've got these skill sets, you've got this technology, you've worked for these different industries, So we recommend applying for this product manager. You wouldn't even know it, but it's a recommendation that the tool is giving you to apply for. So I think it's also good on that front, that it gives you different opportunities to experiment with the type of career that you want to go. Plus,
Yeah.
it'll give you solid advice based off of data that it's received. They get. You can imagine how many resumes a company like American Airlines or Apple receives in a given day, right? So
Yeah. And
having that.
yeah, and I'm sorry I interrupt you, but you mentioned like a very important thing that, as I said, I ran a little bit of the research before this call, and I also noticed that companies, because recruitment process is expensive, you get
Mhm.
so many stuff to do. Like you have to collect resumes, then conduct interviews, then like maybe you didn't find the right person, you need to start the process again. Many companies say that the best recruitment process never ends. You still
Yeah,
constantly look for people. But my
yeah.
question is like, do you see artificial intelligence helping to also find a perfect fit, which means like your example. For instance, I applying for a business analyst, but it looks like I can be a great person that helps with let's say data research. So uh, do you see artificial intelligence, kind of like growing inside the process and helping to not even automate, but also find another opportunities within a one company for a specific person?
Definitely, definitely, and and that's where I think right now where artificial intelligence is, and that's where it is within the processes. So if you look at recruiting as a whole, you typically have many processes, but I'll break it
Mm-hmm.
down into like four or five. You've got your identifying the job, what type of position you need to hire for. There's a job posting. Where are you going to post the job so you can start receiving candidates? There's identifying the candidate. Are they available? Are they not available? Evaluating the candidates, screening them, making sure that if it's a technical role, you're doing a technical screening. Selection, you got to do a negotiating and all that. And then there's the post selection where once you're into a company, you don't want to just let recruiting stop right there. You want to make sure that that individual is successful and they're going to continue to be challenged and they're excited about the role every single day. So there's that process right there. Within that process, for example, with identifying the job, it is almost, not almost, it's sometimes tough to make a job description. So,
Yeah.
you've got, as a hiring manager, specifically in IT, you're working with different technologies, you're working with different versions, and there's always an upgrade or something. So you want somebody that can come in and fix it right away, especially if it's a contingent position, a project-based position. So it's tough to, create a job description. It takes some time. So there are artificial intelligence tools that are out there that can help build that job description. You can input your technology that you're using. You can input the business description that you're putting, and it'll give you a job description.
Okay.
There's also tools that are out there that are making job descriptions more acceptable, like in a diverse sense. So it's
So
keeping that in
here
mind.
is the deal. I'm sorry, like I went on monster.com, which by the way we have also people from Europe listening to us. So
Oh,
monster.com
nice.
is like one of the biggest like website in the US when you can find any job. So
Yeah, right.
but when I go there, I found a service that they can, and I would love you to comment on that.
Sure.
You can pay 20 or $50. It's like, a little money, like, I don't know, 10 coffees in Starbucks. And you can get your resume crafted after a
Hmm.
short interview with you. That means that
Yeah.
somebody reached to you from monster.com, take the stuff you want to put in the resume, they craft that resume for you, but they make that resume searchable. That means
Hmm.
that how that works, they put like keywords or what they do.
Yeah. Well, Monster is a large company. They've got enough resources to invest in a lot of different tools and technologies. So they have the ability to help candidates build like the perfect resume based off of what the current standards are. So they understand that, search keywords are important for big companies. Like I mentioned, if you're applying for a large company, they're getting resumes from all different areas. So there has to be a tool in there to filter through and make sure that the keywords are matching and the candidate is
Which
a good
means that
match.
something is scanning that resumes, because
It,
if there are keywords, like, I mean, I know that I can scan for, but if I have keywords and I have enough intelligence in my company, so
mhm.
that means that I can hire that intelligence, artificial intelligence or algorithms to search through
Right. Well,
resumes
yeah.
and
So
eliminate or pass somewhere.
right, right. As an organization, you're putting your inputs in the input output, right? So you're putting in your inputs as far as what you're looking for in a candidate, right? So each position will have its inputs, like they need to have X amount of experience, they need to have Java
Super
experience, they need to
exciting.
have front end, back end. So there is an input going into that, which is predetermined. So, and that allows people to then build resumes, so they know what companies are looking for. So a company like Monster, to answer your question, those professionals that are building resumes can have that interview with somebody who's looking to build a resume, and they can learn more about their background. They'll write down all of their keywords and inputs and their experience, and then they'll craft out a resume that that can work during your application process. So, but there's many ways to, even if you're making your own resume and applying for a job, companies are still looking at resumes. It's not like it's a scanning device and you're just going to get eliminated if you don't have that keyword. That's not there yet. So, there's a lot of, with artificial intelligence, as there's, technology is moving so fast. Mm-hmm. When Facebook came out, we were just so crazy about, going to the web and getting information from the web, and then see a lot of new technologies coming in, Instagram and all these things. And
I also read that one guy put on a Twitter that some company, before they hire him, and after accepting his resume, they also scanned through all his social channels, and they asked him within their interview about specific tweets which were actually about the political views. So anyway, I don't want you to comment on that, but there is things that
I'm not going to comment on one thing. I'll say, for example, with Icona, we work with a lot of cybersecurity positions, high level, top secret, those type of positions with government agencies. So, if you're going to be working full time with a company that is dealing with cybersecurity and all that, so they're just doing their due diligence. I don't know about the whole checking on Facebook and all that stuff, but that's something that we can argue about. But that I'm sure that's there. Like I said, there's a lot of new tools that are coming out.
Of course. Hey, so tell us, so now I wanted to put this. There is a startup called Vervo, whatever you call it, Vervo.com. So what they do, and I would love you to comment that on us, is that's for the audience, for people to listen to that, to us. Maybe they don't know that startup. So what they do, they can simultaneously, the same time, interview 20, 25 people. And by interviewing, that means that the robot, the artificial intelligence software, shoots you questions, shoots you different quizzes, and depends on how you perform, it prepares the next set. And the company, how they pitch their customers, which are larger companies, they say, hey, we can, first of all, at the same time, at the same minute, we can interview 20 people, which is super boost of the efficiency. But at the same time, we will give you a ranking of them. That means that before you jump into face-to-face conversations, you have a ranking of people, and you can move forward, which obviously influence the cost of the recruitment, which supposedly should go down. So do you think that's the future, that the robots, at least some of the process, will be taken over by them, by AI and other things?
Certainly. I don't know. The future is a lot of things you can debate, but when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to these bots, like I mentioned, there's several different major processes you follow going into a recruiting process. You got your, identifying job posting, screening, interviewing, all those things. So within each of those phases, AI is coming in to help with those processes. So, there's a thing called ATS, application tracking system, that recruiting companies use. And even in that industry, there's artificial intelligence, machine learning that is going to be incorporated. So in the future, yes, I think that's going to be how we're going to be, applying for jobs, and how recruiters are going to be using that ATS to make to engage with candidates. So that is the future, and it helps with a lot of processes. It helps with identifying the best candidate. It helps with, right now when a recruiter is looking for a candidate, artificial intelligence can tell them exactly what demographic, what area, what location to look for. If you're looking for a software developer with these many skills, what area of the country is the best place to look for as a company.
So we can narrow down your research, or
exactly by and it's just data, right? It's just data and looking at patterns, that you can then identify where the talent is. the other part is, as a company, you want to lower your recruiting cost as well. So what artificial intelligence tools are doing is minimizing the cost of posting a job. So as a company, you're posting jobs everywhere. So they're taking into data and looking at what's the best particular time to post data, or post a job position, what platform, what city. So all that is given to an organization, and it helps them reduce on cost. So there are different things that artificial intelligence is going to do to help save the cost, and I think everybody in the recruiting field needs to understand that technology is changing so fast that we need to also upgrade ourselves. We need to continue to learn about these technologies, or else unfortunately things are going to be too complicated. I mean, we're going to fall back. So it's important to learn that in the future, the entire recruiting process is going to be very personalized. Every candidate is going to have a personalized process of applying a job and getting a job. Every hiring manager is going to have a personalized way of dealing with candidates, and each recruiter is going to have a personalized way. So we need to learn to understand that in the future it's going to be more personalized, and that's going to be more user centric. So that's what the future is going to be. And in order to get to there, I think recruiting companies and organizations need to invest in their recruiters, and need to invest in their employees to understand what sort of technology training that they would need, so they can scale up to meet those future needs. And we do it. I mean, at Conma, we're given the opportunity to go to conferences. I go to many conferences where I learn about what's going on with the industry, just talking to people, getting a chance to meet and talk to people. So, I'm constantly learning about what's going on with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, with just technology in general. So it's very important to keep that learning hat on. So
here's my next question about. Oh, by the way, speaking about questions, guys, like we are watching YouTube and Facebook stream in search of the questions, and I have one question already there, which I'll be happy to ask in a minute. But guys, if you want to ask Anurag a question, just type it in the comment and I will just read it. I have my phone here with the stream chat, so whatever you want to ask him about artificial intelligence recruitment in US, that's the chance now. Here's the question to you. How you can see a market going now in the COVID times now? Is it is more requirements from companies for they search for home working? Maybe put in other words, if somebody who worked before as a home office guy, now that skill is required, so somebody can jump into quickly a position. How you see that, or it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a transition. If you're not used to working from home and now you're working from home, I'm noticing, like for example with my wife, she's got a lot more meetings, and so you have to interact with your team members a lot more, which is good. You should be doing that traditionally. But if you're in an office setting, you can just go to their desk and just say, hey, this is what we're working on. But there's a bit of a transition to that with companies that are hiring, and there are companies that are hiring. I mean, if you go on our website, there's many Fortune 500 companies, startups, companies hiring. They're all currently working from remote, and what they're doing is, when a candidate is selected, they're sending all of their laptops or whatever material that they need to their home, so they can work from there. So business has to run. Companies have to keep going. There's projects that still need to keep going, so you need people for that. So, companies are taking that step forward to doing that. And I don't know how long it's going to go for, but I don't see it as being that big of an impact. So I think with technology, with Microsoft Teams and Skype and WebEx and Zoom, you have the ability to stay connected and keep your work going. So it's just a different way of life.
Okay. So here's the question. I have two questions from people. First one is, will AI take over our jobs? That's a general question.
Yeah. Well, the future is the future. automation can do a lot of things. I don't think AI, specifically with recruiting, I don't think it can fully take over recruiting, because if you look at what a recruiter does, you want somebody to join your organization. You're trying to sell an organization to somebody, and having that human element when you're looking for a job, even for me or for anybody, if you're looking for a job, it's a big decision, trying to join a new company, whether you're moving from one city to other city. So having that human element, as a recruiter, you're sort of an agent for that person and giving them good advice and good counsel. That's really hard to put in an algorithm, in a machine learning concept. It's hard to put all that into place. Will it impact? Yes, it'll impact. That's why I think the emphasis has to be on upscaling right now our skills. We need to understand technology. We need to look into what automation and what artificial intelligence is going to do, and then reskill ourselves to make our jobs much better. So it'll definitely be an impact, but we need to know that it's time to keep upgrading your skills. Technology is something that is changing extremely fast. I mean, 5-10 years ago, a lot of things were moving into the web, like I said, with Facebook and all, but now things are moving even faster and faster and faster. So you have to keep up with that. So you have to make sure, and there's many tools out there you can just research on your own to understand concepts of artificial intelligence and what it does. And, you could be well knowledgeable about these things moving forward. So
speaking about skills, that the second question is like, in this technology industry, and I know it's very, very, very vast thing, like technology, but generally speaking, are there any specific skills you can see that are climbing up right now? So anything that people should consider getting?
I would say the number one skill is creativity, ability to be creative and have different way of approaching a problem, because if you want to differentiate yourself from somebody else, you got to be creative. You got to find ways to get things done more efficiently, get things done not necessarily faster, but just more efficiently and effectively. So creativity is one big thing. I'm a big proponent of networking. Even if you're at home, you can always network with people. You can always talk to people on LinkedIn. You can always just call somebody, get their contact and call somebody. So networking is another key thing. The third thing, I'll repeat it again, is the ability to stay knowledgeable about current trends, about current technologies. If you keep upgrading yourself, is the best skill that you can have going in the future.
Okay. I got a question. The next question from YouTube audience is, will AI be able to handle real-time recruiting challenges? That might be not that specific question, but maybe you can comment.
Definitely. Like I mentioned earlier, so in different phases of recruiting, you're doing a lot of different tasks. So for example, when it comes to the selection process, so there are tools out there. For example, there is Glider, there's artificial or filtered AI. There's a lot of different tools that help you with the screening process. So sometimes, as a recruiter, you're sending
guys, he just mentioned real tools that you can go and try. Can you repeat those names again, Anurag?
Yeah, it's filtered AI.
Mm-hmm.
There's Glider. There is Quarterbyte. Quarterbyte. Higher view is there. So these are all screening tools. Traditionally, going back in time, like there's been exams that the companies have had their candidates take to make sure that they're the right candidate, whether it was like on paper or on the phone or something. So it's just another way of just assessing a candidate. But what artificial intelligence does is it introduces, skill sets. It can get more candidates in there. It can get more traffic going into your system to get more candidates going. And as I was mentioning, sometimes recruiters are sending, many emails just to set up one phone call. So
that's right. That's
artificial intelligence can help with just scanning through that and just making sure you're calling, spending time with where the most value is.
And I also know, Anurag, the tool that I personally use, it can be used for different goals, but It's called X.ai, and it can schedule the meetings for you. So
Yeah.
what do? You just send a first email, and the technology pick it up in the background, and it carries out the conversation with your recipient. You don't even see that. Just the conversation about the time, day, hour, a place. If it's a face-to-face meeting nowadays,
Yeah.
does work. But
Right.
anyway, that's what you can also do.
Yeah,
So
especially, yeah, exactly. So that's the other phase right there. As a recruiter or as an account manager, you're constantly scheduling, calendar meetings with hiring managers, with companies and different business departments. So that process right there can also be automated, where you can have their calendar available to you. You can schedule it faster. You can schedule it with the candidate faster. So highly integratable, and just speeds up the process, where then you can spend the most amount of time actually talking to the candidate and talking to the hiring manager and understanding exactly what the need is and what the candidate
yeah,
can deliver. So
that's the point. That's
that's the
the
point. So there's many phases in the recruiting process that artificial intelligence is helping, will continue to help. So we just have to continue to integrate with those. That's something that is going to happen.
Okay, here's another question from Nathan. What new technologies are seeing accelerated investment due to AI? I mean, the way I understand this question is, in your industry, in the recruitment industry, can you see any specific technologies that are kind of like more favor over the others? For instance, filtering or screening, or maybe, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm seeing a trend in the hiring world. There's been a trend with specifically with technology positions where the screening process, the technical screening process, is something that is being introduced by artificial intelligence tools. So, for example, Arik, you are applying for a .NET developer position, and a company is hiring for that. So, as an agency or as a company, we will send you a link so you can then start your assessments. Typically, it's like 30 minutes to anywhere I've seen to like 2 hours. And I know it's lengthy, but what it does is it will give you a series of questions. It'll give you a series of tasks that you have to complete,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll you give your responses, and it gives out obviously a rating system. It gives out a what do you call it, answers, and it gives out a percentage of what you got for those responses
Mm-hmm.
you give. What it also does is, what a lot of these technologies are doing is, often these assessments are done through the video, and there are tools that are out there that can see, for example, how much you're smiling, how much you are, looking into the camera. So with these
Mm-hmm.
tools, it then gives out an assessment to recruiters, indicating, well, is this person a better fit for, like, example, like a more client-facing role, a more customer service role, or are they a better fit for like a back office support role, administrative role? So those video assessments are coming up, and it's helping during the process of screening.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
that's the bigger thing I'm seeing.
Perfect. So I'm also interested in that topic because I'm reading a lot about the. I mean, a lot. I'm reading about AI, and
You read a lot, yeah.
I wish I could read a lot.
Well, you do. I know you read a
Hey,
lot.
dear COVID, why you keep the kids in a home now? So that's the reason. Anyway, so the reason I'm picking up these questions like here from about investment is I can see that investors are also chasing that remote recruiting, because
Mhm.
as the big companies you like Southwest Airlines or other companies like Coca-Cola, you need to recruit people, and
Yeah.
now everything's is like on a break, so those companies can't stand it, they have to do it, so that's how they chase this. Guys, the reason I'm just shooting my head in different directions is I'm trying to get these questions and write down the specific person who asked the question
Mhm.
can still ask another question so I can
Sure,
pick it
sure.
up. Okay, Anurag, tell us like let us wrap it up a little bit. I'm looking at my notes here. So first of all is Recruitment is kind of different, not also because of the COVID-19, but companies need to be efficient and they hire a lot of tools to that.
Right.
And we mentioned at least few of them. The second thing, artificial intelligence will kind of sneak into the recruitment process, but the human touch, that kind of feeling we have about candidates, except for the analytical on that solid skills, that soft part of the recruitment is also important. Our candidates, they should also consider like building a resumes that are searchable, but also approaching the company they want to work for from the different angles, like LinkedIn, monster.com or Google, whatever it takes to kind of like navigate the process through different channels. If you can wrap it up and give us like two recommendations, one for the candidates and what for the recruiters, what that would be in terms of technology, of course, and AI.
Sure. So, if I were to summarize, traditionally recruiting was kind of like a one size fits all kind of process. Typically companies are hiring, you put your job and you talk to the candidate, and then you place them, and then that's it. Well, we are seeing what we're moving towards is, like I mentioned, a more of a personalized experience for candidates, where they know exactly what the job is, they know exactly if they're the right fit, they know exactly what the kind of money that they'll get, and they know exactly what the benefits are. They know the history of the organization. So that entire process, it's a very personalized process where it's user-centric to you, the candidate. Switching over to the manager perspective, they also want, they want to be able to focus on their day-to-day jobs, and they want to, try to get as efficient as possible. So they're having a personalized experience as well when they're hiring for candidates. And each step of the way, they want it to be a most effective process as ever. And from the recruiting standpoint, as a recruiting company, having artificial intelligence help you save cost with your recruiting process, where you can identify the best candidate right away, so you can
faster,
get it in front of the client.
Or you can move there to different departments or suggest them in
right,
roles.
yeah. Any recruiting agency has a database of candidates, and you want to be able to find the best possible opportunity for each of those candidates. So the recruiters will have a personalized process as well, where they're going in and they're interacting with candidates in a more effective way, in a more connected way, and trying to get them the best information possible. So that's what I feel like, the future is going to be more of a personalized experience when it comes to recruiting. And we need to wrap our heads around that. And what we need to do, because it is so personalized and it's so user-centric and technology is so infused into this process, is, as I keep saying, we need to keep upgrading our skills. We need to look into how each step can help us be more effective, learn more about what that step does, be interested in artificial intelligence, get into machine learning, put in your input so you can get your outputs out there. So that's what my thought is of the future, because technology is changing really fast. You have to be able to keep up with it. In the next 10 years, artificial intelligence, there's so much potential for that, and a lot of startups are coming up with those ideas as well. So you'll see a lot of change in trends, but I think it'll be all good. It'll make things more efficient. You'll get your application in, you'll get a communication back about your interview, you'll get your interview time day, your offer. The entire process will be very personalized. So that's what I feel the future is going to look like.
Okay. So guys, Anurag, the guy who understands the recruitment business, and also he's your first contact in terms of looking for a job or looking for a help, which way you should go and how you should approach that. So as I said, we will be sending the summary of this conversation to those who registered. And in that summary, we are going to have a contact data, Anurag contact data, so you can get in touch with him directly. Also, all this video, all this live chat is going to be available on YouTube. So if you think somebody should watch that and get that knowledge and squeeze it out of this video, it's going to sit on a YouTube channel and will be recorded right there. Anurag, thanks a lot again for being here with us. I appreciate your time. I know you are extremely busy guy, especially now when everything flies over the computer. So thank you a lot, man, and
No, I
thanks for
appreciate
sharing
it.
that knowledge.
Of course, I really appreciate it, and I love talking to you about this, and I hope that we can do this again. And I just wanted to say, if anybody's looking for an opportunity right now, if anybody is even hiring, and if
He's your man.
they're looking for candidates too, just let me know. Let our team know. www.icomma.com. You can find all the contacts over there. You'll see that we have plenty of opportunities. So it is a stressful time, but we're here to help. And again, I just wanted to say thank you to all the essential workers, all the healthcare workers, and all the medical professionals that are out there just doing a great job. We just need to keep following the rules, and we'll get through this globally, and we'll get back to normal, and then you and I can go have our beer
The
again.
beer, the beer. I'm European. I need a beer. I need a good beer.
I know, I know. It'll come. It'll come. It'll
It will
come.
come. Yeah. Anurag, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And
Thank you.
you, everybody, have a great day. Be safe out there. Stay, keep that social distancing. Like MIT, they release a whole bunch of algorithms. They keep saying that keeping the social distancing a good thing, at least for now. So
Yeah.
keep that. Be safe out there. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. There's more questions coming, but we will be maybe answering them over the presentation. So take care, guys. Thanks a lot, and appreciate your time.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.